Hello, viewers. Welcome to this lecture series on general biology. In today's lecture, we're going to look at the introductory part, and we're also going to look at the general characteristics of living things, the characteristics that distinguish living things from non-living things, and we're also going to look at the levels of organization of life. Now, what is biology? Biology basically is the study of living organisms. The word biology is derived from the Greek word bios and the word logos. Bios means life, while logos means knowledge. It is said to be the science of life and living organisms. Now let us look at the characteristics of living things. The characteristics of living things are as follows. 1. All living things are both complex and highly ordered. Your body is composed of many different kinds of cells, each containing many complex molecular structures. So living organisms are usually complex and very ordered. They have ordered complexity. A second characteristic of living organisms is their cellular organization. All living organisms consist of one or more cells. All living organisms consist of one or more cells. So basically, these cells carry out the basic activities of living things. They are able to carry out various reproductive activities. They are able to carry out excretion and many various activities. Okay, so and some cells give rise to others. Like the cells in our mother's ovaries basically divide to form 2 cells, and the 2 cells divide to form 4, and it increases until the embryo or the child is fully formed. Each cell is bounded by membrane that separates it from the surroundings. The second characteristic of living organisms is irritability. All living organisms respond to stimuli or change both in their internal and external environment, and thus maximize the chances of survival. So they are able to respond to stimuli. For instance, if you touch a hard object, you are able to quickly respond by withdrawing your hand. The third characteristic of living things is that all living organisms are capable of reproduction. All living organisms are capable of reproduction, just as our parents gave birth to us. The fourth characteristic of living things is growth and development. All living organisms are capable of growing and developing. We were given birth to as little kids, then we grew up to the stage we are now. So living organisms grow. Then regulation. Organisms are complex and possess multiple regulatory mechanisms that coordinate their internal functions by responding to stimuli and coping with environmental stress. A sixth characteristic of living organisms is homeostasis. All living organisms maintain relatively constant internal conditions that are different from the environment, a process known as homeostasis. Homeostasis means steady state. It is the tendency of an organism or cell to maintain relatively constant internal environment. It also means to maintain dynamic equilibrium in the body. All living organisms also feed. That's nutrition. All living organisms are able to feed. Living organisms use energy, and basically they feed. Some organisms are autotrophs, while some are heterotrophs. Living organisms make use of light energy and also make use of chemical energy. Those are the 2 sources of energy. The next characteristic, the 8th characteristic of living organisms is respiration. All living organisms respire. We're able to carry out respiration. We breathe in oxygen and breathe out carbon dioxide. Even plants carry out respiration. Cellular respiration occurs in the mitochondria of the cells. However, the bacteria do not have mitochondria. So respiration actually occurs in the cytoplasm or the plasma membrane of the bacteria. The 9th characteristic of living organisms is movement. All living organisms are able to move from one place to another. Animals are able to move actively from one place to another using various locomotory organelles, but plants can only make some relatively slow movement. Living organisms also excrete. That's the 10th characteristic of living organisms. They are able to excrete metabolic waste from their bodies. The 11th characteristic of living organisms is adaptation. All living things have the capability to adapt to their environment. They interact with other organisms and the non-living environment in ways that influence their survival, and as a result, they adapt to their surrounding environment. Now we want to look at the units or hierarchical organization of life. The units of life are hierarchical and they include the atoms. The atoms make up molecules. Molecules in turn make up organelles. Organelles make up cells. Cells, the various cells make up tissues, then organs, organ systems, and living organisms. Now, living organisms exist in the cellular level of organization and the organismal level of organization. At the cellular level, atoms, the fundamental elements of matter, are joined together into clusters called molecules. Complex biological molecules are assembled into tiny structures called organelles within the cells. The cell is a basic unit of life. So basically, living organisms have a cellular level of organization. The next one is the organismal level of organization. Cells in a complex multicellular organism exhibit three levels of organization. The most basic unit is that of tissues, which are groups of similar cells that act as a functional unit. Tissues, in turn, are grouped into organs of the body, and they compose several tissues that act as structural and functional units. Example is the brain, the liver, the heart, the stomach, and others. Now, organs. Organs are in turn grouped into organ systems. Example is the circulatory system, which consists of the heart and the blood vessels. So, the heart and the blood vessels, which are organs, form this circulatory system. Then various organs function together in an organism. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please keep watching more of my videos from my YouTube and TikTok channels.